Always be truthful to thyself, right? Don't lie and say, oh, I've done 1,000 deals when you've done 0. Be completely transparent. Sumner, if you don't mind, like, can you tell me a little bit about what I did and how I connected with you? Or do you want me to go my side first, or?
No. I'll go for my side. I may miss some things here. So this is way back when you could still get me on a phone call if you booked a call. That doesn't happen. I think the first thing is you came and you weren't brand spanking new. Like, you were new to land, but you weren't brand spanking new to real estate. And so we were able to build rapport that way. Like, you were talking about ROAS and you're talking about ad spend in your wholesale business. And so I don't think we connected on that initially. And from the rip, you led with value, right? It was, let me connect you with this person. Oh, I can help you with this. Like, aggressively, like more so than I'd ever seen, to the point where I was like, is this guy a scammer? That was literally the first, I did think that for a minute. I mean, he was just going on a limb after limb after limb after limb to assist. And then you went dark for a little bit. And then we reached out and we got you into LIA. That's roughly how I remember it. And from there, once you got into LIA, that like giving moved from me to everyone else inside the community. Who here has benefited from the information Dennis has brought to LIA? Yeah, just about it. Just about everyone. Just about everyone. Now, again, I always talk about, if you're a new land investor, the 3 bottlenecks initially is, how the hell do I pick a market? How do I underwrite a deal? And how do I talk to a seller and actually close it, convert it to a deal? He's really helped a lot of folks unlock that last awkward step. There's 2 kinds of avatars in land for new people, right? There's the data people who hate talking to sellers. There's the sales people that love talking to sellers that hate data. And so for that group of people initially, he's really kind of helped unlock getting to more deals. I mean, this guy will literally call people's leads. He'll go into your CRM and dial for you. That's invaluable. It's crazy. That's how I remember it. How accurate was that, Dennis?
So it's pretty accurate. So what I did is I reached out to Sumner. We set up a call, talked to him for a few minutes, told him everything. And I was like, I saw Sumner's thing, like Sumner's basic, like the thing he cared about the most, right? He cared about you guys. He cared about the community above all else. And I'm like, how do I help this guy? Like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, I don't want to be an asshole, right? You know what that is? It's an asshole. It's an asshole who asks a lot of questions and tries to like, ask, hey, Sumner, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? I didn't want to be that guy, right? I wanted to serve him and help him. How could I do that? Well, he cares the most about his community. So what did I do? I looked inside his community and I saw an inefficiency, right? I'm like, this guy, he's got this great community. He's got a great campfire. He's got the mindset. He's got the this. He's got the skills. He doesn't have sales. He doesn't have anybody doing this. So I was like, hey, Sumner, can I come in? Let me do a free training for your group. I'm going to talk about seller colors and all that stuff. And he's like, dude, yeah, okay. So we did that. And I went into the Discord and everybody loved it. And then after that, I stepped back a little bit, right? And like you said, I went dark because I wanted him to kind of think on it, resonate. And then I went back and I kind of reignited the fire a little bit, right? And you do that on purpose, right? You don't want to be always in front of their face. You kind of want to sometimes step back a little bit and let them think about you and then come back into their fold again. And then yeah, dude, I remember this guy provided so much value. Maybe I do want to keep him in my fold, right? It's almost like if you have a lead, right? And you push them away, let them go a little bit, let them stew. And then you call them back 2-3 weeks later. They're like, hey, where'd you go? What happened? Why'd you leave me? They're so upset, right? It's kind of what I try to do, and that's what I do for every relationship. You know, I do that time and time and time again, and that's what I want everybody here to do. Is go into these relationships, provide value, see an inefficiency, and then focus on that inefficiency. Right? Don't go for the big ask yet. Wait on that.
Dennis, can I just add something for this? I think it'll be good context. Who here has received a box of cookies from me before? Yes. Yeah. So I used to send out handwritten letters to people when they joined LIA. Thought that was pretty sweet. Dennis sees that. He's like, yeah, I think you could do that better. So his wife bakes cookies that get sent out to every single LIA member when they joins. And I think Dennis did a really good job identifying areas where he can be of service.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say no to that. And eventually it's the law of reciprocity takes over and I feel indebted to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And so I'm more than willing to go above and beyond. And rarely does he even have to ask. I just do it because that's how humans operate, right? Mm-hmm. Someone gives you enough at a certain point, you feel responsible to give back to them. So I want to share that.
Yeah, exactly that. So yet again, I saw another little inefficiency. I'm like, how could you provide more to your people, right? And I said, what's a good thing? Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard the book, John Ruin, Giftology. If you haven't, everybody read that freaking book. It's like one of my all-time favorite books. And it's all just talking about like how to give with like no like, without anything coming back to you, right? Just like give unconditionally, okay? With no big ask or anything like that. And this guy takes it to the nth degree. He's actually built an entire he serves billionaires and like built this huge corporation office. This guy's absolutely awesome. So basically, I just kept serving Sumner. I kept doing things for his community because I knew that was his baby, right? And then eventually he showed me, I talked to him, I was like, dude, do you know what another thing you're missing is? Is like a lower ticket entry program, like a 90-day zero to hero. Like, I'm just getting into land. Like, oh, Sumner has this like amazing program that gives you, get to $1 million business. But I'm like, you don't have that entry level. How do I do my first 3 deals, right? So I said, you should build a 90-day program. And he's like, yeah, I thought about that, this and that, but I never really had anybody like I wanted to do it, and I didn't know if they would actually be able to do it. I said, well, dude, I've been in real estate 13 years. I could do it. He's like, all right, let's start, I don't know, was it like June 6th or something like that? He's like, let's start. I'm like, sounds good. So I said, we'll set a budget, $10,000, and to Clint's, I'm sure Clint's gonna love this, I had $250K in pipeline profit in 90 days, right? Woo! And now it's closing. We're almost at the 250. We'll get there. So it's almost real. And it's basically, I just, kept serving. Like that whole 90-day program, how is that for the group?
It's been awesome. It's been a really good bridge for folks that are just getting started. And we have more senior people go through it. But I've always said, like, whoever put the fire hydrant photo of the kid, that's kind of what it's like being inside LIA, right? It is a lot. I always tell folks, it's like, we worked together for 12 months inside LIA. There's 2 things we're trying to accomplish. First, it's usually about 6 months. It changes person to person, but we're going to build the skill of being a great land investor. A lot of what we do is skill-based initially, and we're going to take that skill and build a business around it through leverage, typically through people. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish. That's a fucking lot to accomplish in 12 months. It's all hands on deck. I say, if you don't have 20 hours a week to put to this, don't even think about joining. So 90-day challenge is a really good bridge, and it's DIY, right? It's for folks to go on their own. The problem with courses is they're in a vacuum, right? Everything seems really simple in a course. You watch someone do it, and you try, you're like, a totally different outcome. And so all we're trying to do in that program is get your first half dozen deals, nothing else. I'm making no other promises. Just go get that first half dozen deals. Join us inside LIA thereafter. Would you guys want me to share the program with everyone here for free?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool? Yeah? All right. Amanda, we'll make sure we get that out to everyone on Monday. I think you guys will like it. Woo!
So yeah, it's it. So it was awesome. It was awesome for me because I was able to take I wanted to learn all about land, right? I found out about land. I flew out. We were working on buying this 120 unit hotel in Tennessee. So I flew out to Tennessee and I was sitting there. I met this guy, this 70-year-old dude, and he's like selling me this hotel. And I looked at it. We ended up not getting it because there was a septic issue. It would have cost me like $3 million to do. So I said, I'm out. But I'm talking to this guy and he's like, oh, you want to see my other property that I just, we're finishing up? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, I bought this. It was, bought this piece of land for $400,000 and side of a mountain. Nobody else would touch it. And we subdivided it and, built all these little paper lots. And then I sold all the lots. I put the street in, whole 9. And he's like, I'm 3 years into it. And I think I've made about $12 million on it. I was like, I'm sorry, you did what? How? And you made how much? And he's like, yeah, it's what I do. I buy land in Sevierville, Tennessee. We chop it up, sell the lots on owner finance, and I make a lot of money. I was like, dude, I need to learn land. So then I went down the rabbit hole, found Sumner, and then I was like, dude, how could I get into the fold of this group and just really learn this stuff at the highest level, right? Mentors, coaches are the ways for you guys to exceed to the next level. Don't be hesitant to find mentors and coaches. Just freaking do it. It's your best way to learn about, anything is basically find somebody who's doing it at a high level and then learn from them, right? So I just consistently provided value. So I basically found an inefficiency, and then I provided the free training. I connected with him, with others. I basically was like, hey, dude, I got this guy, Steve Harward. Awesome dude, he owns PCS. Hey, let me text you guys together. Boom, here you go. I got this guy. You should check this guy out. Boom, connected with him. I just kept
Anytime I went on a trip, I would be in a group chat with Dennis and some strangers. Like, you got to go get dinner with this person in some random state. It was incessant. But a few of them actually panned out to be meaningful. Marlon, Sam, that came to be via group chat through Dennis. So.
Yeah, he's in Hawaii. I'm like, oh, dude, I have like 4 people in Hawaii. Connect with Zasha, connect with this person, connect with that person. And he's like, dude, I don't even know this guy. Why is he sending me all these freaking people's names and stuff? Like, what's going on? Even in the Philippines, I was like, oh, you have 2 guys in the Philippines I connect you with.
And you know what's interesting about that too? It's like the same thing with internet marketing, right? You need some level of social proof to get a stranger to have any faith in you. Same shit though, where I'm like, I met this guy online. I don't even know who he is, but he's a ton of social proof because he's linking me up with cool people that are legit. So, well, what does that say about Dennis? I think the group chat move is pretty powerful, especially if you have someone that is awesome. You can leverage their notoriety or their reputation, and that links to you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, do you know what's really good? If you're ever doing like a group chat with people, instead of just sending like a text or something like that, if they have iPhones, send like a voice memo or send like a little video, quick video. Hey man, hey Steve, I wanted to connect you with Sumner. This is the guy, and like this is his program. Like I have like a screen in the background, whatever. Show it like. This is the guy, you got to connect with him. He's doing this, he's doing big things. You got to check it out. Here's one of his YouTube videos so you can see what's going on. Boom. That's how you do a connection. You don't just say, hey man, I think you should talk to Sumner. He's pretty cool. Like that doesn't do shit for anybody, right? You actually want to connect people. So basically I took his thing and I took his program. I did an outside in view and I said, this is what you're missing. And I consistently followed up with him. So how can you apply this to like your general stuff, right? What I always do is like, you got to plant seeds. How many people have read the book, The Wealthy Gardener? Guys, more people need to read that book. I'm an obsessive reader, and I will say the book that got me into reading was The Martian, Andy Weir, which is not like a self-help or business book, but I just needed that one book was the catalyst to get me to reading everything else. Now I crush like 200 books a year, right? It might repeat like a book like 10 times in that year, but I'll listen to at least 200 books a year. But that's one of the reasons why I've had growth in my life, my business, my everything, is because of books. Wealthy Gardener, John Sephoric, I believe. I forget if that's the guy who wrote it. Absolutely fucking wonderful book. That's like, I read that every quarter. It's just like a really good mindset book. And it's also like really good about building wealth and like taking 2 frames and just looking at it different. It's an awesome book. You guys will love it. So from that, I know you have to plant seeds, right? Start by asking them about themselves, find out more about them and all that stuff. You're not going to say like, you know, like, hey Matt, what's your business look like? Tell me about your business. I want to know about your business. Nobody gives a shit. Like, we all have businesses. Like, I don't care about that. You got to like focus on them. Like, hey Matt, what's your favorite beach you've ever been to? You know, like ask cool questions, ask things they actually want to answer, right? Because you want to see if you want to vibe with them, right? So I'm finding out different things about them by, you know, start asking them questions about themselves, and I'm like planting seeds. Like, oh, cool, when are you going on that vacation? I'll find out little things. And now I put that in the back of my head, and I know they're going to, you know, Bali at some point. Maybe I'll send them something that they could take on their trip, and they'll remember me while they're on that trip, right? I find the inefficiencies, I solve their problems. Next is watering your garden, right? Find out how you can provide free value. Whether that's leveraging yourself, like something you have going on in your life, or maybe you know somebody else that does something really dope and you want to connect them with something. Boom, I make that connection. Right, that's value.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah, please, always.
So I've been like a very non-social media person up until the last year. Then I started sharing more consistently.
I suck at it.
I'm terrible at it. We made 1,000 YouTube videos in the last year, which is pretty fucking insane. And through that now, like putting myself out there, I get people that reach out to me a couple times a week, maybe 15, 25 people a week. And it's like, usually it starts off, hey man, love the channel. Hey man, love the video. That's a great place to end that first touch. Leave it there. No, I think you can give me a compliment, but this is where they always go wrong. Love the video, man. Could you underwrite this deal for me real quick? Love the video, man. Can I get on a call with you real quick and pick your brain? Love the video, man. Can I meet you up in Vegas? It's like, no, absolutely not. Drop the comment, say great video, and leave it at that.
Yeah.
Make the ask way down the road. And in fact, it's a pattern interrupts because I'm so used to people saying the same shit that if you come and you have no ask, I'm impressed right off the rip because you just said, hey, kudos, and that's it. So my little piece of advice is when you're doing that initial touch, that initial outreach, you can compliment them or you can lead with value, either work, stroke their ego, or give them a solution to a problem and leave it at that. No ask initially, no ask. Especially like if you're going after, I'm not saying I'm a high caliber person at all, but if you're going after high caliber people, famous people or thought leaders, dude, they're busy. man. It's disrespectful to think that they have time sitting around to field your questions or your phone calls or underwrite your deals. It honestly reflects poorly on the person that's reaching out, in my opinion. It's a lack of awareness. So don't do that.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. Like, find out what you could do to like help them, but don't ever go for the big ask like right away. Like Pace Morby, Sam Marling, you guys know him. When I first got into his group, I got in like November 21, like right around you, I think the same time. November 21. And just gotten in. Within, I don't know, 3 weeks, I was closer. You know, we were both closing at night on this nightly dial thing. Same thing I saw as community was like number one. So I just sat there and I was like, dude, I'm going to provide value to the community, do free Zooms. Just did it, right? I don't care. Like, you just take action to do it. And then about 3 months in, he's like, I'm coming to New York. So I've been running meetups. I host like meetups, like 100-something people every month, right? And so he's like, yeah, I'm coming to New York. So I shot him a DM on Instagram. I was like, hey, if you're coming to New York, I'm going to put together a meetup for you in New Jersey. You got to stop here. And he's like, dude, I'm not coming to New Jersey unless you get 400 people in a room. I was like, okay, how many days do I have? He's like, I'll be out there Friday. No problem. It was Wednesday. And I was like, shit, this is going to happen, huh? So I just went into my network. I said, hey, everybody, Pace Morby, Jamil are coming out. I want everybody to show up. I want a lot of people in this room. I want everybody. Tell all your friends, tell every single person you know. I didn't have a room, a location, nothing. Literally nowhere to go. And I just said, fuck it. I'll figure it out, right? So me and my wife drove to, I don't know how many venues, like probably 30 or 40 venues. And we're like, do you have availability for Friday? They're like, for how many people? I'm like, I don't know, anywhere between 400 and 1,000. They were like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So I ended up finding a Sheraton that would fit us. And I told them it's probably going to be 150 people. Knowingly, I knew it was actually, I had sold 600 tickets in less than 24 hours. I mean, it was free tickets, but 24 hours I sold 600. And I just told the Sheraton, I'm like, yeah, it's 150, because they would say yes to that, right? Once the people are there, they're not going to say no. You know, people are buying drinks and shit like that. They're like, oh, fuck it, whatever. So I'm like, all right, Pace, I got the location. I had originally booked one spot, then I had to book another spot. I had to go to a third spot. We ended up cramming, I think I had 1,000 signups in less than 3 days, and we had like 700 people show up. And I got like a 3D photo booth. I got like this, that, drinks, everything like that. Cost me like $5,000, right? A lot of money at the time. I was like, shit, this is gonna be expensive. But I'm like, that elevated me in his eyes, because I know his community is his number one. So that elevated him, like myself and him, like really quick. And within 3 months of me joining his program, like I had his number, we were talking and all this stuff. Like, I just provided a shit ton of value. And then when I was like later on in life, I had a deal come up. It was like probably like a year later. And I was like, Pace, I need help with this deal. You know, this and that. I've been providing all this value. I didn't like say all that, but like, I need help with this deal. It was like he's like, yeah, no problem. Let's get on the phone. It was like a 600 unit multifamily deal. He's like, okay, yeah, let's get on the phone. Let's talk about it. And he like helped me negotiate all this stuff. So like, it's just crazy. Just go out there and just like find something and provide that value. Like, especially like coaches. It's just a simple fix. So what are your guard? Provide free value. Consistently stay in contact. Always be omnipresent, but not like overbearing. Okay.
Dennis, I got a question for you. Do you have any tips or strategies to manage that? Because I would quickly forget who I need to follow up with and when.
So you don't want to, that's another thing I want to talk about. If you're trying to build relationships, you're not going to like, how many people got like 15 numbers today? Raise your hand. 15, raise them up, keep them up. 15, how many people got 20? 30? No? Okay. You should only have gotten like maybe 3 or 4, right? And really just the people that you really resonated with. Like, just going around and asking for 1,000 freaking numbers. I guarantee you 0 will follow up and actually talk to those people, okay? When I go to a meetup, there's times where I'll walk in the door, let's say there's 200 people there. I'll walk in, I'll meet 2, 3 new people, and I'll just go home. Done. Why? Because I've got the value out of the meetup that I needed, and then I'm gonna follow up with those people. I'm not gonna try to get as many numbers as I can and find out, oh my God, one of these guys is the right person. I need to find them. No, I'm gonna just find the 1 or 2 people that I feel like I could resonate with right now, and then see if that relationship actually works, right? So when you're networking, don't just try to get everybody's number, try to like go around, shake everybody's hand. Like find people that vibe with you, find people that you could actually talk to and hold a conversation with. That's the most important thing. I probably went through my slides like all over. I'm trying to like rush through this and stuff like that. So what are your goals? How can you achieve these goals? How can they help you? How can you help them, right? So when you're going to a meetup, have a goal in mind of what you're trying to achieve that day, okay? So go there with that goal in mind. Like, I want to learn about buying single family homes in whatever. I'd walk into this room, you guys are all land investors, and I see Marlon and I see Sam. I'm just going to go to those two guys and leave. That's it. Like, I found my people, I'm going to connect with them, and that's done. Because those are the two people that can help me with my goals right now, right? If your goal is subdivides, who would you talk to in this room for subdivides? Who would you talk to in this room for subdivides? Jerry. There you go. And who else? Clint, right? And Kyle's not here. So you probably just go talk to those two people, right? If you're looking to streamline your business and get it down to like 2 hours a day, who would you talk to? There you go. That's it. That's your guy, right? You just find somebody that, like, what your goal is right now, and find that person, right? Might take you going around and asking a few people, hey, do you know who's really good at streamlining their business? You know, like, you're still going to network with people, but you're going to ask those people who does this really well, right? People always say this, I have nothing to provide. I suck. I'm just getting started. Okay, if you're just getting started, you probably have time on your hands, right? You probably have like 10 minutes a day. Well, if you see somebody that's like is doing something that you want to do, you could probably find like 10, 20, 30 minutes of your day to go out there and like help them achieve that goal, right? If Clint's trying to find subdivide deals, big pieces of land. Hey, Clint, what kind of properties are you looking for? Give me like, what's your parameters, right? And you would tell me what they are. And then I'm not going to bombard you and send you 1,000 freaking deals, but I'm going to probably reach out to every single one of you people and say, hey, does anybody have this type of deal? Anybody? I go into Discord and say, anybody have this type of deal? And then when somebody raises their hand and says, yeah, I have one of these, get it, underwrite it real quick. I probably don't know what the hell I'm looking at. It's probably wrong, but I'll just be like, hey, Clint, you know, I came across this deal. I was talking to some people in my group, and I saw this deal. I don't know if it fits your buy box, but if it does, you know, like, do you want to take a look at it? I'm not trying to JV with him. I don't care. Let him take it. But guess what? And now Clint gets that deal, and he's like, yeah, dude, this is a great deal. I'll probably make like $2 million on it. Oh, dude, that's amazing. Like, hey, do you think you could just like let me tag along? Just show me that deal. Would you let people tag you along if they brought you a deal that's going to make you $2 million? Yeah, all day, right? Yeah, that's it. I'm sure you have 10 minutes in your day to go out there and like network with like 2-3 people a day and find out if they have a deal that Clint wants, right? If your goal is to get the subdivides. So that's just bullshit if you say you have nothing to provide. It just means you're being lazy. Stop being lazy. Just do the right thing. A lot of things, like if you're ever networking and you're talking too much, you suck at networking that day. Like, you should not be talking 70% of the time. When you're asking questions, you should be asking questions and be genuinely interested in that person. Don't sit there and try to like tell them like, oh, I've been doing this and I fix and flip and I flip like 300 houses and this and that. And that person's like, dude, this guy never shuts the fuck up. What is wrong with this guy? I ask questions. I'm like, hey, what's keeping you up at night? It's like totally out of the wall question. They're like, oh, wow. Everybody's asking me about my business. This guy's asking me what's keeping me up at night. My kids are keeping me up at night. Oh, really? Tell me about your kids, right? You're building meaningful relationships with them, not just like, oh, cool, you're doing $2 million in business a year. That is awesome. I want to get there. How do I do that? You're just an asshole at that point. So I use this to raise capital all the time, right? I network with people to raise capital. I don't sit there and go, hey, Cole, how much do you have in your bank account? Can I borrow like 50 grand? No, I don't do that, right? I network with them. I build relationships. I find out what they love to do. You know, like, let's say you love going to baseball games. You have a Titleist shirt, hat on. You obviously play golf, right? So you know what I'd probably do? I'd probably like try to find your address or maybe ask you for it or something like that. And I'll send you some Titleist golf balls or something like that. Or just send you something or something that fits, yeah. Exactly. Like I'll just send you a thing of golf balls, right? And I'll start building that relationship. You know, you have extreme knowledge. You've been doing this longer than anybody else in this room. I think you've been doing this longer than Ryland's been alive. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's true though, right? So like, that's how you would build a relationship with him because he's got the experience, right? So you want to like find out what he likes. It's very easy. People usually present themselves, you know, who they are on the outside pretty well. Like, you know, like me, I'm not a person that's ever going to dress in a suit. It's not me. Like, I don't know if you guys know who Alex Hormozy is. He's like very similar. I don't look like him, but he's like freaking jacked. I'm not that. But he's like I don't give a shit. I'll walk out in Crocs and, you know, like high socks and the friggin' tank top. And that's like how I'm going to do a meetup and raise like $10 million, right? Just be your authentic self, right? Like Marlon was saying. So I use my authentic self and my relationships I build to go raise net capital. And always be truthful to thyself, right? Don't lie and say, oh, I've done 1,000 deals when you've done 0, right? Be completely transparent. Hey, look, I haven't done any deals in land, but here's something I've been doing. I've got a mentor. He's teach me all this stuff. He's done like 300 deals last year, and he's like really pouring into me. These are the deals and everything like that. This is what it looks like. And I'm going after the exact same stuff he's going after. So if I get a deal like that, would you be interested in partnering up on it? Don't talk about like, oh, you know, can I borrow 50,000 for, you know, 10 points and this and that? Like, just say, would you be interested in partnering up for it? And they'll probably be like, yeah, present it to me. Let me take a look at it, right? Maybe that deal you have to give them 50% equity. Maybe you have to give them 90% equity, but you build that trust, right? So use your good skills of networking to help raise capital. You could also do this to find deals. Let's say you have $0 for marketing, right? You could use that by going on social media, connecting with people out like wholesalers and stuff like that. How many freaking wholesalers are there? Sam, how many wholesalers are in the country? Like 2 million or something like that? Too many is exactly right, right? And you get a lot of freaking wholesalers who get land deals, they just throw away, right? Nobody touches them. They don't know what to do with them. So you could go do some outreach, connect with wholesalers, maybe score some free deals and bring them in, JV with them, right? And then you don't have to pay for any marketing, right? That's another way to build your network.
Can I add one thing, Dennis?
Go.
Who's like a land OG in this room? Like who's been doing land for a while? Sure. Yeah. Like 4 years or more. Okay, cool. You guys like get people that reach out to you that want to learn from you or want to pick your brain? Raise your hand if that happens. Cool. What I found is the cheat code is one of two things, and it has to be done tactfully because you can totally fuck this up and it doesn't work. When someone sends me a deal that's very on brand with what I like to do, and it's a deal, and it's not on market, and you've actually done your homework, and they say, hey man, would love to take this down with you and just go along for the ride. Love that. It's a great way to get your foot in the door. Dennis didn't do that, but if you're early into land and you're in the deal finding mode, and it could be on market, you just got to lock it up, right? We had a guy named Max bring an on market deal to us, but he negotiated probably 25% less than the asking. It was an owner finance note wrap deal, 10% down, 7% interest, 20-year AM, 5-year balloon. He says, let's do this together. I only want 7.5% of the deal. I said, fuck yeah, Max. I'm going to take you along for the ride. And now Max, because he's a go-getter, and he didn't need hand-holding, I said, Max, here's the counties we want land in. Just go hustle. I'll give you all the data. Just cold calls. Just burns the phones. And so he's kind of like a quasi-intern. And he knows, like, I'm not going to give you 50% on the deal for finding the deal. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to coach you and pay for the deal. But it's a great way to learn. The other side of that coin, too, is kind of like what Ryland did. And again, this is where you have to be very tactful. Free labor ain't free, right? If I have to train you and hold your hand, it's not worth my time. But if you come to me and you say, hey, I'm going to do this, and just know when I get a deal, you and I are going to work together, even if you don't have the deal yet, and you won't need to manage me, but I'm going to send in an end-of-week report to show you that I'm actually hustling, and here are the warm leads I have or hot leads I have, and when I get a contract, we'll do it together. Love that. I probably have, I don't know, maybe like around a dozen people doing that. Now, some of them, there's attrition, some of them fall off, but the ones that persevere, like Ryland, those are the winners, right? And I think if you do that wrong, and most people do it wrong, Can't tell you how many people just send me an MLS link or a Zillow link. They're like, look at this deal I found.
It looks so pretty. Isn't this cool?
Yeah, I'm like, no. But just something to look out for. If you guys are new in the game and you have deals and you want to kind of get some free coaching or just get in proximity to someone, pass off a deal to them and don't expect 50%. It's not going to happen. But I think it's a great way to go along for the ride.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't just send a deal and expect you're going to get 50% out of it. It's like the stupidest thing ever. Expect to just like, and he's probably going to be like, yeah, no, that deal sucks. Okay, hey, no problem. Don't try to justify it. Just keep going. Just find another one.
Shout out to John M. for sending me those subdivided deals. Every week, this guy sends me subdivided deals. And initially, they were a little like, all right, John, here's the format. And now he follows it to a T. And he's really close to having a deal that we're going to do together. The last one is a maybe, but you're getting closer and closer with each one. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm just, like I said, I'm obsessed. Like, I love reading. Wealthy Gardener is one of my favorite books, definitely a must read. This book right here, Steve Sims, Blue Fishing. If you want to learn how to master networking, this guy was just a mason. He was a bricklayer from London, and he built himself a business where he just hangs out with billionaires, and he just is a concierge for them.
You want to know the funniest thing, the most meta thing ever? Dennis reads Steve Sims' books and then uses his strategy to become friends with Steve Sims.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
That's gangster, man. That's gangster.
I got Steve Sims' number in my phone, so I could shoot him a text right now if I wanted. All because I know in the future I'm building like this master network, and he's one of the people that I'm going to invite out to my network, and that's like one of his favorite things. This book, Steve Sims, Blue Fishing, fantastic. Then there's another book, Go for Stupid, fantastic book. It just teaches you getting out of your comfort levels and just going for the big things, the big asks. Steve Sims wrote it in his book. He's like, you know what the problem is people are too scared to reach out to their people they're and like they love, they're whatever, they're celebrities or whatever the case may be. I'm drawing a blank right now. They're heroes, yeah. So they're too scared to do it. And guess what? Then nobody does it, right? How many people in here have somebody they want to meet, right? Probably everybody, right? How many of you have reached out to them? You have? I'm freaking proud of you. That's awesome. Who was it? Woo! What'd you do?
No way.
Did she connect?
Oh,
there you go.
Haley,
see?
Let's go.
So
Haley,
that's
what was
it.
the story?
Now I'm turning to you.
Yeah, I'm ever present. I've had a lot of concussions in my life, so I forgot a lot of stuff.
Okay.
She was encouraging people to vote.
I love it. That's awesome.
Woo! Yeah, no, that's awesome. You know what's another way to do that? Is maybe you can't connect with Taylor Swift, but guess who you probably could connect with? Is her number 2, right? Her like manager or something like that.
Oh, can I actually throw that out there too?
Yeah.
Dude, if someone, this doesn't work for everyone, but if someone's at a certain caliber, the move is to connect with the number 2 person.
Yes.
The number 2 is the move, man. They don't get bombarded and they're typically in the shadow. If I wanted to connect with Ajay, Ben might be the best vehicle to do that, right? Don't go for the head honcho. Go for, that's not a knock by any means. I think you like being, you like rolling shotgun in the best kind of way. I think it's just an underutilized strategy. And there's not always going to be a number 2, but I think it's a really, really good method. And again, that's not a knock. You guys have a good dynamic. But if I wanted to get to you, I'm going with Ben first.
Yeah, so John Bruin talks about that in Giftology too. He talks about like, if I want to connect with somebody and, they're really hard to connect with, whatever it is, I'm going to go for their wife, their kids, their family, somebody like that. Not like that.
That sounds weird, man.
I'm going to take your son if you don't call me.
Fine line to toe. Careful.
No, but so what he did is he wanted to connect with like really well-off people. So what he did is he started sending them, this is going to actually sound even better. He would send them knives, Cutco knives, right? But he would have them engraved and he would do like, whatever. And he would do this all the time, right? And, if you wanted to get in somebody's orbit, you have to get in front of the person that controls their door, right? So Sumner's behind a locked door, right? How do you get through that locked door? You can't open it, right? There's somebody that controls that door. You got to connect with that person that allows you in, right? Secretaries, wives, couples, whatever, whoever that person is, find the person that controls that door and get in contact with that person. I do that relentlessly. I always connect with people like that. Actually, funny story about John Bruin, Giftology. Pace Morby met him. Pace and Jamil met. Did you hear this story with Pace, the coconut oil? With Pace, okay, I'll tell you. So Pace and them were out in Boston one time. They were walking around and stuff like that, and John Bruin was there. And he was like, I forget if it's the same, whatever. He's there, they're hanging out, and they're just like talking. And then they were joking around. They said something about coconut oil. And somebody was like, oh yeah, that's the best for sex. And they were all like laughing, whatever. Nobody thought anything of it. Pace gets home.
Don't do that, by the way. That creates yeast infections. Just
No,
be
it does.
careful.
Totally, yeah, it's totally not good, but it was just funny, right? So Pace gets home 2 weeks later. Have you ever seen the coconut oil from Costco? Anybody? It's
huge.
It's massive. He got like 20 of them sent to his house. Literally 20 of these massive things. I opened up one of his cabinets like, bro, what the hell is this? Why do you have so much coconut oil? And he starts telling me the story. I was like, dude, that is so good. He's like, I will forever remember that guy because of this stupid coconut oil. And whenever I see coconut oil for the rest of my life, I will think of him, right? So doing these outlandish things just put you in their orbit. They'll remember you forever. So like, read that book, Giftology. It's freaking amazing. It'll definitely change everything. This book too, Go Giver. That book is just about giving relentlessly without ever expecting a return or anything like that. If you read these 3 books and Giftology, I should have put that one on here like a dummy. If you read those 4 books, your life and networking and relationships will just completely change forever. And you'll have like basically a boundless life. You could do whatever you want. You know, I was homeless, and now here we are, still growing. So, Giftology. Yeah, fantastic book. Cool. Well, that's me. Tried to keep it quick.